Welcome back to the deep dive. So, if you've ever found yourself standing in one of those huge, bustling international airports,
Hmm.
maybe juggling a couple of kids and definitely juggling a language barrier, you know that feeling. The real complexity isn't the destination. It's just navigating the airport itself.
Yeah.
That anxiety, that confusion. We're going to eliminate that today.
That is precisely our mission. We're doing a really focused deep dive into the absolute most practical, simple English. We're talking A2 level here.
Right.
The stuff you need to just glide through the whole airport experience. We've taken a whole stack of resources on this, and we're distilling it into a clean, four-phase, step-by-step guide.
Right. Arrival, check-in, security, and then boarding.
Exactly.
Think of this as your confidence booster.
Yeah.
We're not interested in, complex grammar or a massive vocabulary list. Our goal is to give you the exact words and phrases so you know what you need to say, and maybe more importantly, what the agents and officers are going to say back to you.
It's a roadmap for real-life communication, because when you're under pressure, simplicity is your superpower. Let's start the journey.
Okay, let's begin with segment 1, Arrival and the Essential Foundations. We haven't even stepped into the terminal building yet, but this is where you need to organize your inventory and your thoughts. The sources all point to 5 sort of foundational words that are the keys to the whole process.
Yes, and they're all physical objects that you're responsible for. We can start broadly with luggage. That's, the general term for all your bags, everything you've brought with you. Then we get more specific. The big, heavy bag you check is your suitcase.
Right.
And the bag that is absolutely guaranteed to stay with you, that's your carry-on bag.
And that distinction between a suitcase and a carry-on bag is vital, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're treated completely differently at check-in, at security. If you mix those terms up, you're just inviting confusion about size restrictions or, liquids.
Exactly. Knowing the difference just lets you comply immediately. And then, of course, the 2 items that are completely non-negotiable for travel, your passport.
Or ID, maybe, depending on the trip.
Or ID, yeah. And the boarding pass. That's the ticket that actually gets you onto the plane. If you know those 5, you've pretty much mastered your object inventory.
So let's move to the practical phrases built around that. Before you even get out of the car, the family needs a kind of pre-flight confirmation checklist.
And that checklist should really start with a spoken phrase. Do we have all the passports? It's so simple, it's direct, and it eliminates all that frantic searching later on. We talk about the utility of language. That one phrase performs an immediate critical function.
I really appreciate how the sources focus on phrases that manage expectations, especially when you're dealing with, travel fatigue or you have young children with you. 2 great examples here are, we are almost at the airport, which just gives everyone a sense of progress.
And this one is, well, it's fantastic for managing logistics without needing any complex grammar. Can you help me with the suitcases? Oh, you don't need to apologize or have some elaborate introduction. A simple, polite request like that it's universally understood and respected. It shows the real power of that A2 level.
Before we move inside, let's just quickly anchor those final foundational terms you'll see on every single sign in the airport: departure and arrival.
Right. Departure is where you are now, where you leave from, and arrival is where all the inbound passengers land.
Okay, so we've gathered our bags, we've confirmed we have the passports, we walk inside, and we immediately head for segment 2, mastering the check-in counter. This is your first official transaction with the airline.
The main location is the check-in counter, and it's usually got your airline's logo all over it. To start the process, the agent is going to need your flight number and your ID or identification, and once the luggage is processed, you'll move on to the baggage drop-off. That's where your big suitcases officially leave your care for a while.
So knowing those 4 terms kind of frames the whole environment. But now we need the script. You walk up to the counter. What's the simplest, most effective way to start?
You just lead with the goal. The best opener is, we would like to check in for our flight. Notice we would like to. It's polite, but it's also firm. Once you've stated the goal, the next action follows right away. Here are our passports. You just hand over the documents they need.
And what if the agent starts speaking really quickly or asks a question you weren't expecting? You need to sort of maintain control over the basic information.
That's where the facts come in. You have to clearly state your luggage situation. We have 2 bags to check. And then, if you're traveling as a family, you make the practical request, can we sit together? That is such a key phrase for families. It's easy to remember, and it addresses an immediate comfort need.
Let's just walk through the full dialogue from the source material, because seeing how these simple phrases all connect It's invaluable. So we have mom, dad, and the agent. Mom starts things off.
Right. Mom, good morning. We would like to check in for our flight to Miami. The goal is perfectly clear.
Agent, sure, passports, please. A simple instruction.
Dad, here they are. Compliance. Simple.
Agent, how many bags are you checking in today? The logistics check.
Mom, 2 bags and 1 carry-on. And see, that distinction between the checked bags and the carry-on is just so smooth and accurate.
And then the agent confirms everything and gives the next steps. Agent, perfect. Your gate is B12. Boarding starts at 10:30.
And that quick exchange, it contains 4 critical pieces of information for you. You get confirmation that everything's okay, the specific gate number B12, the boarding time 10:30, and a confirmation of your flight, implicitly. If you are just listening for those key nouns and numbers, you are set for the next hour.
Which brings us right to segment 3, navigating security procedures. For many people, this is absolutely the most stressful, fast-paced part of the whole airport experience. Unlike check-in, where you're making polite requests, here you are focused entirely on understanding and complying.
Absolutely. The location is the security check, and the big machine you walk through is the metal detector. The communication here is, well, it's typically non-negotiable, and it's delivered pretty quickly by an officer who probably isn't focused on gentle conversation.
So the focus has to be on understanding the commands. What are the, say, 3 essential instructions that the agent or officer is going to use that we absolutely have to recognize instantly?
They are all verbs of action. First, please take laptops out of your bag. This is always a critical instruction for electronics. Second, put your bag on the belt. This gets your stuff into the X-ray machine. And third, this one is directed right at you. Step forward, please. That just means move your body through the detector or to a specific spot.
What's fascinating about these phrases is just how simple they are. There are no conjunctions, no dependent clauses. They are pure actionable commands.
Exactly. And the anxiety comes from not knowing what to do next. If you can just understand those 3 commands, you've covered, I'd say, 90% of the movement through security.
Let's look at the mini situation, too, from the source. It involves the dad and a security officer. The officer kicks things off. Please put your bags on the belt.
So the officer is initiating the action. Now, here is the key proactive question that you, as the passenger, need to be ready to ask, because the rules about shoes are always changing.
That question is, do I need to take off my shoes? Why is it so crucial for the passenger to know how to ask this?
Because if you wait for the officer to tell you, you might be holding up the whole line, or they might speak more quickly out of frustration. Asking the simple, direct question just shows you're aware and you're prepared. It is probably the most high-utility passenger question in this whole segment.
And the officer's final instruction pulls it all together. Yes, please, and take laptops out of your bags.
And then mom's simple instruction to the family just wraps it up. Okay, kids, follow me. They've complied, they've managed their items, and now they're ready to collect their things and move on. Mastering that single proactive question is just a huge step in cutting down that security line stress.
Okay, we've cleared security, we've repacked our bags, and now we are in the sometimes relaxing waiting area. We're heading into segment 4, at the gate and boarding.
This is the final phase before you get on the plane, and the vocabulary centers entirely on location and time. You have to find your specific gate. When the airline starts letting people onto the plane, that process is called boarding. And you need to be super alert for announcements that signal urgency or delays, things like final call and delayed.
The core purpose of being at the gate is really just confirmation. You're essentially double-checking the instructions you got from the agent back at the check-in counter.
Exactly. The verification phrases need to be simple and accurate. You need to confirm the location. Is this the right gate for Flight 245? And you need to confirm the timing. What time does boarding start? Gate changes happen all the time, so relying on this simple verification can prevent a huge mistake.
Let's run the quick dialogue for the gate confirmation, mini situation 3. Mom walks up to the gate agent.
Mom, is this the right gate for Flight 245? And notice how she uses the flight number for total clarity.
Gate agent. Yes, it is. Boarding will start in 5 minutes. A quick, definite answer plus a time update.
And then the dad takes that confirmed information and translates it into an actionable instruction for his family. Stay close. We are boarding soon. That's practical language utility in real time. It just focuses the family's attention.
But travel often involves sudden changes, right? What about the high-stakes, urgent language we might hear or need to use from that extra section in our source.
You have to recognize and understand urgency immediately. If you hear another traveler or an agent yelling, "We need to hurry, it's the final call," that is your signal to drop everything and move as fast as you can to the counter.
Yeah, that's the one you don't want to hear.
Never.
And conversely, the necessary but always disappointing informational phrase, "Our flight is delayed by 20 minutes."
This is so crucial. Knowing the A2 term delayed lets you manage your time and expectations instantly. If you understand that one simple phrase, you aren't stuck there wondering if you missed your flight. You know you have extra time. The confidence you gain just by knowing that one simple verb delayed is huge.
So we've successfully navigated the entire airport, step by step. But how do we reinforce this knowledge so it's actually there for us when we're under pressure? Segment 5 is all about that. Practical reinforcement and expanding into some more comfort-based requests.
The key to practical reinforcement is moving beyond just passive reading and into active use. Our source provided some excellent study activities that you can do at home. The first one, Activity A, is about completing the phrase. It forces you to recall the word.
Right. For example, if you see the sentence, "We would like to, for our flight," your brain instantly has to retrieve the verb. Check. Or if you see boarding at 10:30, you fill in starts. It's memory work, but it's super targeted to the actual context.
And Activity B is generative. It forces you to create your own sentences using the core keywords. So you take passport, gate, check-in, security, and you just build simple statements. It could be as simple as, "My gate is C8," or "I have a problem with security." The act of actually generating the sentence is what solidifies the utility of the word.
Once those core survival phrases become automatic, then we can introduce a final set of advanced phrases. They still use a really simple A2 structure, but they shift the conversation from survival to preference and service.
This is where you can leverage your simple English to really improve your quality of travel. So instead of just asking to sit together, you can be more specific. Can we get seats near the window? It's an easy way to move from just necessity to actual preference.
That's a huge step toward feeling like a confident traveler, not just a struggling one.
Yeah.
And what about simple requests for practical needs, especially with family? Like, is there a place to get water near the gate?
That phrase is a lifesaver. You don't need a complex inquiry about facilities or amenities. You just need to find the practical item.
And I think the most empowering phrase we've highlighted is that quick call for help that immediately frames your needs. Could you help us? We are traveling with kids.
Yes. That single sentence is a complete summary of your situation. It tells the agent you're potentially stressed, you might need a little patience, and you probably require some help with logistics. It's concise, it's polite, and it pretty much guarantees a more empathetic response. You use your simple language to signal your specific needs quickly.
This has been a really practical deep dive. We've gone through the vocabulary and the dialogues you need to transition smoothly from the curb, through check-in, past the demands of security, and finally to your confirmed seat at the boarding gate. By focusing only on these A2 level phrases, you now have a complete, reliable script to handle the whole airport journey with confidence.
And that confidence is absolutely key. If knowing simple English lets you confidently ask for a small preference, like a window seat, or where to find a basic need like water, well, that just opens up a world of independent action, so it makes you think. Take this knowledge and consider this. What other small, personalized request, maybe finding a specific type of food for a dietary need or locating a quiet spot for a quick break, could fundamentally transform your travel experience just by confidently using this fundamental practical vocabulary?
Keep this practical guide handy and enjoy the journey. You are well prepared.